Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive. It's going to be a good one. This time we're diving into bacteria and viruses.
Ooh, exciting.
Right. I mean, it's everywhere. We've got these excerpts from Bacteria, Viruses, and Humanity.
Oh,
An ancient and invisible reality.
it is invisible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's such a good point to bring up.
And, you start thinking, you're like, this is more than just like, oh, I don't want to get a cold. This is like, these things are shaping the planet.
Yeah.
Like, it has a huge impact on humanity. Like,
Massive.
you can't even fathom it.
It's true. And I think the thing to remember is these microorganisms, they've been around for billions of years.
Billions with a B.
Billions with a B, way before us. They were the original architects of Earth's ecosystems. So
what would life on Earth even be like without them?
right. That's the question.
I mean, we always think of bacteria and viruses like,
yeah.
I'm going to get sick.
You're going to get sick, stay away.
Like, that's the only context we think of it in.
It's true.
But they're doing so much more than that.
Absolutely. They're involved in everything from the soil.
Soil?
Like nutrient cycling.
Right.
Yeah. So like everything in the soil is like moving around thanks to these bacteria.
That's wild.
And then the air we breathe.
Okay, so these little things are
They're everywhere.
everywhere.
And then also, we can't forget the trillions of bacteria that are inside us.
Living inside of us.
The gut microbiome.
The microbiome, right.
Yeah.
Which, have you heard about this?
I've heard about this. I don't really know much about
So it's this ecosystem that's living inside of our bodies.
it. Inside of me.
Inside of you. Yeah.
What?
And it's impacting our health in so many ways.
Like it's a good thing.
Sometimes.
Oh, sometimes.
Sometimes it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's really complex,
Okay. Interesting.
but we're learning so much about it.
Okay, before we get too deep into that microbiome thing,
Yeah.
we got to take a step back, right?
Yeah.
And just appreciate, like, how long did it even take us to realize that this stuff was even there?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
You can't see them.
No.
Like, imagine, like, in the 14th century.
Oh yeah. The Black Death. A third of the population of Europe wiped out.
Devastating.
They have no idea what's causing this.
They don't even know.
They're fighting a ghost.
Literally fighting a ghost.
That's crazy.
And so then, microscopes come along.
Oh, right.
And then we start to see this hidden world.
So, like, who figured that out?
So we have Antony van Leeuwenhoek,
Okay.
and he's crafting his own microscopes back in the 17th century.
This guy's just making microscopes.
Just making microscopes, yeah, like tinkering.
Wow.
And he opens up this whole realm of discovery.
So he looks in there. He's the first one to see.
I mean, I don't know if he was the first one.
Okay, one of the first.
One of the first, but he's like, whoa.
There's stuff in here.
There's stuff in here moving around. It's alive.
Crazy.
And then even then, as the microscopes improve, we realize there's even smaller things out there.
Okay, even smaller.
Even smaller. Like, they would call them filterable agents because they would pass through the finest filters.
So, like, we can't even see them with this microscope.
Yeah, we're like, what is that?
And that was
Viruses.
viruses.
That's viruses.
So it's like, okay, we're getting better at seeing things.
Yeah.
But there's still things we can't see.
Still stuff we can't see.
It just blows my mind.
It's crazy.
Edward Jenner,
Yeah.
smallpox vaccine.
Yeah.
Nobody even knows what a virus is.
They don't even know what it is.
He's just like, I think I can fix this.
He's like, I got this.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So he was looking at milkmaids, I guess.
Right. So the milkmaids, they would get cowpox, which is kind of a milder disease.
Okay.
And it seemed like if they got cowpox, they were immune to smallpox.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so he was like, there's something to this.
So
And he developed this inoculation method, which led to the eradication of smallpox, which is...
That's insane.
Damn.
We can eradicate a disease.
Oh, I know.
That's awesome.
That's like human ingenuity right there.
So we've come a long way.
We've come a long way.
From not even knowing what's making us sick
Yeah.
to, like, getting rid of one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
All right, so we've established this now,
Yeah.
that not all bacteria and viruses
Not all bad.
are the bad guys, right?
No. Some are good.
Some are really good. Some are essential for life.
Essential for life.
Like, we know it.
All right, so we talked about gut microbiome a little bit.
Yeah.
What are some other examples?
Yeah, well, so in the soil, we have nitrogen-fixing bacteria,
Okay.
which convert atmospheric nitrogen into a form that plants can use.
Like what?
Yeah, so they're like little fertilizer factories.
That's crazy.
I know, it's wild,
So
right?
they just like,
And that's essential for the whole food chain.
these little bacteria are making it possible for me to eat food.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I know.
Okay, what else?
We can't forget about decomposition.
Oh, yeah.
Bacteria are the master decomposers.
Mhm.
They break down organic matter. They recycle nutrients.
So they're like the cleanup crew. They're the cleanup crew. Yeah, they keep our ecosystems functioning.
It's like a cycle.
It's a cycle.
So it's not just bacteria. You said viruses could be beneficial sometimes.
Yeah, so there's these things called bacteriophages.
Bacteriophages.
Phages, yeah.
Okay.
And they infect and destroy bacteria.
What?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, and they were used therapeutically before antibiotics.
So we're using viruses to fight bacteria before we even knew what we were doing.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it worked.
It worked, and actually with the whole problem of antibiotic resistance, people are looking at these bacteriophages again.
So we could use these phages to fight like superbugs and stuff.
Potentially, yeah. It's this whole new avenue of research.
That's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
So it's not black and white.
No, it's not black and white at all.
Some bacteria are good, some are bad.
Yeah.
Viruses can be good and bad.
Both friend and foe.
We're just trying to find like a balance.
We're trying to find that balance, but it's hard because, they're evolving and adapting constantly.
Yeah.
They don't stop.
They don't stop.
They're figuring out new ways to do things.
All the time. Super resourceful.
It's like an arms race.
It's arms race.
Like we come up with an antibiotic,
Yeah.
and then they're like,
hold my beer.
on my beer, I'm going to figure this out. And then we got to come up with something else.
And then they're like, oh, we got that one too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a constant back and forth.
This is where things get interesting.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
We're starting to use artificial intelligence now.
AI.
AI?
In the fight against these microbes.
Like what?
Yeah.
AI versus bacteria?
It's coming. It's happening.
That sounds super cool.
It is really cool.
I want to know more about this.
It's amazing. AI is like revolutionizing how we're approaching microbiology.
Okay.
It's like a super-powered microscope
Okay.
that can just analyze tons of data and show us stuff we never would have been able to see.
So we're not just looking under a microscope anymore.
No.
We're using AI to look at like the code, the genetic code, and all the data, like their behavior, how they're interacting with each other, how they're interacting with us.
So we can use this to like identify new strains.
Yes.
And track their evolution.
Yes.
And even predict if they're going to make us sick.
Potentially, it's like having a crystal ball a little bit.
Hold on. So AI can predict pandemics.
Not like predicting the future, like it's definitely going to happen.
Okay.
But it's more like identifying threats early on.
Gotcha.
So AI can look at data from all these different places like surveillance reports, social media trends, even weather patterns.
Weather patterns. What do weather patterns have to do with bacteria?
But it's all connected, right? So it can see how these different things might influence the spread of a disease.
So you're saying AI is like a detective.
Ooh.
I like that.
Using all these clues
Yes.
to figure out the mystery.
Yes, exactly. And just like a detective, it can identify those suspects, track their movements, and try to anticipate their next move.
This is like a bacteria's next move.
Yeah, like where is it going to go next?
And that lets public health officials do something to stop it before it gets bad.
That's pretty awesome.
It'd be amazing, right?
So this is really a game changer then.
Yeah, potentially. Like, we're talking about really changing things.
That's super cool.
And it's not just predicting outbreaks.
Okay.
It can help us develop new drugs and vaccines.
Okay, now this is where I'm really interested.
Yeah.
How can AI help us come up with new drugs?
So AI algorithms can analyze the structures of these viruses and bacteria,
Yeah, okay.
find their vulnerabilities, and then design molecules that target those weak points.
So it's like a little tiny microscopic missile
It was
that goes in and attacks the bacteria.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
So instead of us just trying things over and over again,
Yeah, trial and error.
which takes forever,
And it's super expensive.
AI can be like, boom, here's the answer.
It can speed up the process so much.
That's awesome.
And we can find more effective drugs, vaccines, even personalized therapies for people.
Personalized therapy, so like it's made just for me. It's insane.
It's the future of medicine.
So we're talking about like not just reacting to stuff, but
Yeah.
predicting and being personal.
It's predictive, it's personalized, it's amazing.
But you said earlier that we might even be able to work with some of these microbes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still curious about that.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
So think about the gut microbiome, right? We're just scratching the surface of understanding it.
Yeah, it's so complex.
It's so complex, and there's trillions of bacteria in there.
Yeah.
AI can help us figure out which ones are good and how to make them thrive.
So instead of thinking of all bacteria as the enemy,
Yeah.
we can learn to kind of cultivate the good ones
Exactly.
and maybe make things even healthier.
It's about shifting our mindset from war to collaboration.
Okay.
Imagine AI helping us develop personalized probiotics or engineering bacteria that could clean up pollution.
So bacteria that eat pollution.
It's a possibility.
That's awesome.
It's pretty wild, right? So we have this like peaceful coexistence with these things that have been our allies and enemies for so long.
It's a fascinating field, and it's always changing, and AI is a big part of that.
You know, it's just mind-blowing to think that something we can't even see can have such a huge impact on our lives.
It really is. They've shaped history, haven't they?
They have, and they're still shaping our lives now, like all this stuff we talked about, from the Black Death to gut microbiome.
Yeah, antibiotic resistance.
AI. It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I want to know, like, what does all this mean for us? Like, what do we do with all this information?
It's a great question. I think the biggest thing is we have to change how we think about these things.
Okay.
We can't just see bacteria and viruses as the enemy to wipe out.
Okay.
They're part of life, and we have to figure out how to live with them peacefully.
Peacefully
and sustainably.
That's tough, considering how much damage they can do.
It is a challenge for sure, but it starts with understanding.
The more we learn about them, the better we can manage, how we interact with them.
So knowledge is power.
Exactly. And that means like a bunch of different things.
Okay, like what?
Well, we got to prevent stuff in the first place.
Okay.
Like the basic stuff, washing our hands, covering our coughs, staying home when we're sick.
Yeah. I mean, that's so simple, but
It's true. We forget sometimes, right?
it's easy to forget.
It is, but it's powerful. And then we got to think about antibiotics, too.
Oh, yeah. Antibiotic resistance.
Exactly. We only use them when we really need them, and like the doctor says, because using them too much is what causes resistance, which is a big problem.
It is.
Global health problem.
So we got to be careful with these medications.
We do. It's a responsibility. But even if we're careful, they're still evolving.
Right. They're always changing.
Always changing. So we need research and new stuff.
New antibiotics and antivirals and all that.
Yes, exactly. We have to stay ahead of them.
And AI can help with that, right?
AI can play a huge role in that.
Yeah. It's like AI is the key to this whole thing.
It's really helping us understand these things in new ways, and that's leading to new discoveries, new drugs, new vaccines, even personalized medicine.
So AI is not just fighting disease, it's also like helping us be healthier overall.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing.
And what about the microbiome?
Oh, yeah, we can't forget about that.
All those bacteria in our gut.
Trillions of them. Research is showing that a healthy gut is so important for our health. Like everything from digestion to immunity to mental health.
So all that stuff we're supposed to do anyway. Eating healthy, managing stress, getting enough sleep. That's all good for the microbiome too.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
That's a big takeaway from all of this bacteria and viruses. They're not just out there on their own. They're part of this huge web of life, and everything we do has an effect.
That's kind of humbling when you think about it.
It is. We're all connected.
Wow, this has been incredible. We've learned so much about the history, the science, the future of these things, but I just feel like there's so much more to learn.
Oh, there is. It's constantly changing. There's always something new to discover.
It's like a whole universe we can't even see.
It really is.
Well, thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive.
You're welcome. It's been fun.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us. Remember, this is a world full of wonder and complexity and potential. So stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring.
This is DigitView.